Get ready to go from surviving to thriving with me, Clare Downham, where we explore the no tools, no techniques shift to overcome stress, silence self-doubt and create a life of calm, fulfillment and freedom. Let's dive in and begin your transformation. Hi there. So today, effortless inner clarity, the inside out understanding. And I think there's a problem in the world in terms of our clarity, isn't there? Because I don't know about you, but there's just so much noise, isn't there? There's a lot of noise out there in the world, but also for a long time, and probably still now a lot of the time, there's so much noise in our heads, doesn't it? And then finding that real clarity, that real sense of, I don't know, like peaceful knowing is probably, I've never called it that before, but maybe that is it. This sort of sense of peaceful knowing can be really hard to find. Now, the first thing that then comes up for us is how do we fix that? How do we fix or solve that noise in our heads? How do we get rid of it so that we can experience clarity? But what if we didn't really need to do that? What if it was more about seeing things differently? Everybody's got noise in their head, by the way. I mean, I remember when I first started meditating years and years ago, it was all about, trying to silence the mind, as if that's even a thing you can actually do, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You just try it. Like, you really try to stop thinking, and then you'll notice that you're thinking about the fact that you're not thinking. It's just ludicrous. You can't silence the mind. The mind it's never going to stop. I mean, I think that's called death, isn't it? When the mind stops thinking, that you're gone. You are no more. There is no more you, because just being you is thought. Just being in life is thought. That you cannot stop that flow of energy. And anyway, why would you want to? I mean, the fact that, we can do so many amazing things. I'm just looking out of the window here, and there's houses and cars and a shed made out of metal, and there's just so much stuff that human beings have created, and it's all created because of this amazing thing we have, this amazing mind that we have. And isn't that's wonderful? That's powerful. It's really amazing to see. And we can't shut that off. And as I say, let's not try and do that. But of course, it's very easy to get caught up in endless tools and techniques to try and clear the mind so that we can find the answer to whatever it is we might be finding the answer to. But have you noticed how the more you try to shut it off, the more it resists? Because that is the flow of life. That is the flow of life, is this continual, energy. You can't stop this energy from flowing, the energy of thought from flowing. Oh, probably shouldn't have gone for that little interlude there, the from flowing. That's quite a mouthful. You can't stop that. Now, what I think is, in this conversation, it's always about what we can see differently. It's not about trying to don't try and change things. Don't try and change yourself. Don't try and stop your thinking. Don't try and experience more. Just stop trying. Let's just look differently. Let's just look at things differently, because that creates the biggest transformation. That's what we do in the Thriving Woman approach. We don't say do this, do that, do the other. We say, well, let's try and just shift the perspective on this. So the first thing that comes to mind in shifting the perspective on this is that, the mental loops that we're creating by trying to make ourselves be more calm and have a clearer mind and that's not helping. However, what if we saw, what if we look to the truth? And the truth is that all that thinking isn't you. Like, that's not the essence of you. That's not the truth of you. That's not who you really are. Can you just almost take this? I feel like it's almost like a microscopic step backwards. Like, you're not taking a physical step backwards. There's a step backwards internally to just begin to go, yep, there's a lot of thinking going across my head. Wow, look at that. Like, look at that. That's amazing how much it is. I was chatting, we were walking yesterday. I was chatting to my fiance's little boy, and he was saying, like, where does thought come from? What is it? And he got really, like, he's 12, and he just got really, like, geeky out on the science of it. Like, where does it? You can't stop that. Like, you can go really far. You can't stop it, but you can. And this is what I was saying to him. Like, you can just go, yeah, there's just a lot of thinking. Even if you just stop for 5 minutes, just as an experiment, and just watch it go past. But seeing yourself as the watcher of that, as the experiencer, as the awareness of it, just changes the perspective on it. And I find humor coming up for me quite often. Just going, whoa, like that, what a lot of nonsense. It's a bit like, when you have I had a really weird dream last night, a really weird dream about my mother getting married, like with a day's notice, and us all having to run around like lunatics planning a wedding. It was so funny. And it was really, really funny. And there was all sorts of weird conversations, and it was so weird. And I woke up and went, how funny is that I'm having all this weird, there's all these weird, what dreams, how weird they are. Like, can you do that with your own thinking? Can you start to go, what the actual heck is that? Why, just how amazing that the mind can be so creative to make up a crazy dream like that, and to make up a crazy daymare, as lots of people call them, in the day. And that your clarity isn't in there. So the more you're doing in there, you're not going to find it in there. It's not in there. Stop playing in there. There's no clarity in there. No matter how many tools and techniques you do, you're not going to find clarity in your thinking. It's not going to be there. But clarity just arises when we start to hold that continual flow of noise just a little more lightly, and we go, like, why? What fun to observe it. And this is then seeing how everything that is created is coming from there, and that it literally is what's happening in our life is the thought that's believed. And unfortunately, so often we believe the thoughts that come with all this angsty energy in our body, but they're the ones that we really shouldn't be believing, because that's why the body is built to let us know when we're believing things that are not true. That's how the body is wired. That's how we're wired. We're wired that, when we're believing a thought that isn't clarity, that isn't helpful, that isn't true is probably the most important thing. When we're believing a thought that isn't true, it brings about discomfort in the body. It brings about tension. And, there's a number of things, like, just knowing that just allows us to just breathe. allows us to be with that emotion, not trying to get rid of it or shake it off or tap it away or whatever else we might be doing. We don't need that. We don't need to do anything about that. We can just be with that feeling. Just breathe with it. And I find so often, just as soon as we settle into that place of awareness, we connect to the body, come back to the present moment, we're seeing it differently, and that's it. Our perspective is shifting, and clarity just emerges from there. Suddenly we just know what to do. And the knowing what to do comes in the moment from the realization of the inside out understanding. And catch it sometimes, don't catch it other times. That's completely and utterly how I live my life from day to day. Sometimes seeing it, sometimes not seeing it. Sometimes really getting caught up in things, and that being okay, and that being normal, and that being part of life. But always going back to, where is this experience coming from? It's coming from the inside out. It's created from within. And that we keep going back to that, and we keep asking ourselves questions which help us to see that in the moment. Questions like, what is actually true now? What am I believing that isn't true? Those kind of things. And the clarity, and then, the other thing that I find really helpful is just the sitting with, just wherever it makes sense to be, just sitting with the emotion, just experiencing what's happening in the body. And the clarity comes from the presence then. And then this marvelous mind, super duper clever thing that it is, can just provide us with the next step, and only ever the next step. No more than that, never more than that. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's a useful kind of perspective shift on this, on just seeing it a little bit differently. So take care. Lots of love. I'll see you again next time. Thank you for tuning in to explore your journey from surviving to thriving. For more insights and resources, please visit my website www.claredownham.com and explore the Thriving Woman Masterclass. Remember, thriving is within your reach. See you next time.